So you made it to Friday, and I've got one question for you. When was the last time you were actually, physically, undeniably turned on? Okay, girl. So I'm not talking about performatively willing, not going through the motions because it had been a while. I mean that low belly pull, that heat that starts somewhere below your navel and makes your whole body lean in. And if you had to think about it for 3 seconds, this episode is for you. Because this weekend, we are not doing polite. We're not doing obligatory. We are doing on fire. So stay with me. I have research, I have a practice, I have a chakra, and I have homework, naughty homework, the kind you're actually going to want to do. Okay, so let's talk about the real problem. Because here's what I think nobody says out loud about long term relationships, or hell, about midlife. Or how about this about being a woman who has been responsible for approximately, I don't know, everything for approximately decades? See, what happens is that desire gets domesticated. You know your partner, you know the routine, you know exactly what comes next and when and for how long. And that predictability, which can feel like safety, but it is one of the quietest killers of erotic charge in committed relationships. So let's get to the research. It's a short episode, so there's not a lot of research, but I can't do an episode without research. So I've got two here for you. Researcher Marta Meana at the University of Nevada has spent years studying female desire. And one of her most compelling findings is this: for women feeling desired, genuinely, hungrily desired, is one of the most powerful arousal triggers that exists. Not comfort, not being familiar, desire directed at you. And then we have Jaak Panksepp's research on seeking. And his research adds to this. The brain's most primal reward circuitry is not activated by having. Get this, it's activated by the pursuit of having, anticipation, the not yet, the approach towards something thrilling. So, this means the formula for a turned on weekend is not trying harder at the same thing. Please, not that. It's novelty plus embodied presence plus the willingness to be wanted. That is what we're building today. Okay, so the science of being naughty. Let's look at the actual neuroscience of why new erotic experiences work. When you introduce novelty into a sexual experience, a new scenario, a new dynamic, a new sensation, the brain releases dopamine in the same circuits that govern reward and motivation and craving. So it's not a metaphor. We've got what Emily Nagoski has told us. She's worked on the dual control model and makes this very plain. What accelerates desire isn't effort. It is the removal of those brakes we've talked about quite a bit on this podcast. And those brakes are fear, shame, routine, self consciousness. And the activation of accelerators are novelty, fantasy, embodied sensation, and the experience of being genuinely desired. Sit with that for a minute. When was the last time you allowed yourself to feel genuinely desired? Because if you are anything like me or the women I work with, we block that. Oh my God, I'm too fat. Oh my God, my legs aren't shaped. Oh my God, my ass has wrinkles. I mean, we will, yeah, we get in our own way so much. I really want you to be curious about this as you try this homework over the weekend. How are you getting in your way, sweetness? Just with love, with curiosity, be observant. So let's talk about the Tantric traditions, which predate the neuroscience by several thousand years. But these traditions understood this stuff at a somatic level. Tantra is, despite what the internet has done to the word, it's about marathon. Well, Tantra sex is not, excuse me, about marathon sex or elaborate rituals. At its root, Tantric practice is about slowing down enough to actually be in your body during intimacy, about bringing breath to presence and deliberate attention to the sensation rather than racing toward an endpoint. So it's slowing down and being embodied. And the research under interoception, the body's ability to sense itself from the inside, supports this exactly. So that brings us to Sarah Garfinkel's work on interoceptive awareness. And this shows that people with higher body awareness report greater emotional intensity during pleasurable experiences. You feel more when you are actually inhabiting your body. And what shuts down the being inhabited in your body, the same thing that shuts down everything else. A nervous system that never got the memo. The work week is over. Hop over to Compassion Fatigue Cure, my other podcast. I've got several episodes on that. Okay. So, moving on to our chakra psychology, we're going to talk we talk about this one a lot on this podcast, the sacral center, because it rules your sexuality and creativity and pleasure. And it's the seat, if you will, of pleasure, flow, creativity, desire. I left that one off. And it means in Sanskrit one's own dwelling place. Y'all, this is home. The home inside your body where aliveness lives. And when your sacral chakra is open and flowing, you feel it. There's a quality of warmth and pull in the lower belly, a willingness to receive sensation, a creative life force that says yes to experience. When it's contracted, which stress, shame, and routine all produce, that energy goes flat. The spark is not gone. It is waiting behind a door that has not been opened for a hot minute. So this weekend's assignment is about opening that door with intention, with your partner, with some deliberate heat. So here's your permission slip. I'm giving you 3 invitations for this weekend. Not prescriptions, not a 5-step system, invitations. You take what lands and leave what doesn't. But I want you to actually consider all 3 before you decide, because research on erotic novelty consistently shows that the anticipation of trying something new is itself arousing, regardless of whether you do it ultimately or not. So, slow it all the way down. Tantric presence. That's invitation 1. Before anything happens this weekend, try this. Sit facing your partner, close enough to touch, but not touching yet. Both of you breathe 3 full breaths together in sync. And you place one hand on your chest and you look at each other. That's it. That's the beginning. Tantra, at its most fundamental, is about contact before content. It is about allowing the nervous system to arrive in the room, to acknowledge the person across from you as someone you are choosing right now in this moment, not out of habit, out of intention. And from there, and only from there, let touch be slow. Slower than you think. Let sensation build without rushing toward an outcome. Breathe in, breathe out. Arrival before action. Your sacral center will begin to warm before a single piece of clothing has been moved. Okay. Invitation 2, role play. Give yourself a different name for a night. So I want to say something directly to the woman who has just tensed up at the word role play. I see you. I hold space for you and send lots of warmth. Girl, you're allowed to be someone else in the bedroom. You're allowed to play. You're allowed to be the stranger, the boss, the woman who just walked into a bar and doesn't know his name yet. Your nervous system will not break. Your identity is not at risk. What you're doing is giving your brain permission to access erotic imagination without the filter of being a wife, a mother, a grandmother, a professional, a responsible adult. The research on sexual fantasy is clear. The content of the fantasy matters far less than the arousal the fantasy produces. Fantasy is the brain's erotic rehearsal space. Role play is just fantasy made physical. And it doesn't have to be elaborate. A simple frame is enough. You're not yourselves tonight. You met an hour ago. He wants you, and you're deciding if you're going to let him have you. That dynamic, desire directed at you, your power to withhold or grant, is one of the most reliably arousing scenarios in research on female sexual fantasy. Interesting, huh? Did you know that was researched? See, it activates Meana's finding directly. You are being wanted, and the wanting is aimed at you. Start there. See where you go. Okay, here's another one. Make sure you got the earbuds in. This is the third invitation. Bondage, the permission you didn't know you needed. So I'm going to be direct. If you have ever been curious about restraint, being held, being tied, being told to stay exactly where you are in extremely normal company. Research on erotic preferences consistently finds bondage and light restraint among the most commonly fantasized experiences for women across all age groups, across relationship types. Here is the nervous system explanation for why it works. When the body is restrained, the ability to control the experience it's handed over. And for women who have been in charge of everything, who manage and monitor and anticipate and respond, that surrender is not weakness, sister. Not at all. It is the most radical form of release available. You stop managing. You stop doing. You're only allowed to receive. The sacral chakra opens when it feels safe to surrender. And safe is the operative word. You establish the frame before you begin. You both agree to a signal, a word, a sound that means stop, full stop, immediately. That agreement is what makes surrender possible. Safety is not the opposite of erotic charge, it's the container that makes it possible. Start simple, a scarf, his hands on your wrists, being told to keep your eyes closed, the instruction not to move. Just notice, just be curious. What happens in your body when you feel, well, not when you feel, what happens in your body when your only job is to feel? Mm. All right. So here's your homework. This is a partnered assignment. 3 parts. Do all 3 in order this weekend. Part 1, the arrival practice. Before anything sexual begins, spend 5 minutes just breathing together, facing each other with eye contact, one hand on your chest. No agenda, just arrival. Let your nervous system register that you are safe, you are chosen, that this person is here for you. Part 2, choose one invitation. Pick one of the 3: tantric slowness, a role play scenario, light restraint, one of those, and tell your partner before the weekend that you want to try it. The telling is part of the practice. Anticipation is arousal. The conversation that happens between now and when you actually do it is its own kind of foreplay. And then part 3, say what you felt. Afterward, not during, not immediately afterward, but sometime before Sunday night. Tell your partner one specific thing you felt in your body. Not that was nice, a body sensation. I felt warmth in my belly. I felt my chest open. I felt something I forgot I could feel. That language, body forward, specific, vulnerable, is how erotic connection deepens past a single weekend into something that keeps building. You are not too old for this. You are not past your erotic prime. You are not too tired, too busy, too far gone from the woman who used to feel that pull. Girl, you are a woman whose nervous system has been running the world and hasn't been given permission to stop. This weekend, I'm giving you that permission. So go be wet and wild. Girl, you have earned it.